Urban Renewal Agency special meeting for June 4th, 2014. If you will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, I'd appreciate it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you please stay standing for a moment of silence for our troops here and abroad. Great. Thank you very much. Before we get too far into the agenda, normally you're not confused. This is the Canby Urban Renewal Agency meeting. Chairman Dale is out with 8th grade graduation promotion for one of his daughters, so he will join us later for council, I think. So we'll go and we'll press on without him. First on the agenda this evening is to approve the May 21st consent agenda. If I can get a motion on that, I'd appreciate that.
Mr. Vice Chair, I move that we approve minutes of the May 21st, 2014 URA special meeting, which is the whole consent agenda.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion made by Commissioner Hensley and seconded by Commissioner Rocha to approve the consent agenda, which include the approval of the minutes of the May 21st, 2014 URA special meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That passes 6-0. Next up is citizen input and community announcements. I have no yellow cards, but we'll open it up. I'm seeing head shakes, no. No? Okay. Sue, community announcements.
The only one I'll make is that summer swimming registration is open at the Canby Swim Center, and you can register online, and my understanding is if you want the best pick of classes, you should sign up soon.
Great. And I will put out there as an announcement that on June 9th at 10 a.m. we will be doing a ribbon cutting and opening officially the Sequoia Parkway Bridge. So come on down to the end of the bridge there by American Steel, and we're going to get that open and officially get that driven upon.
Mr. Chair, I found one other person who's really excited about that opening.
Who's that?
That's the UPS driver for it.
I bet he is.
There are a number of people that have been asking when that's going to get open, so we're almost there. Item number 4 tonight is new business. First on that is the next steps for the Civic Center project. So I do have from Amanda just kind of a rough outline of the process, which I will review since she's not here. So we've got to finalize the purchase of the property and get a signed agreement in place. So we've got to do complete the negotiation process and draft the purchase agreement. So that's left on that end. Once that's done, we need to confirm the selection team for the RFPs as well as the project manager. Right now that looks like it's going to be Amanda Zyber, our interim city manager will be the project coordinator. Melissa Kelly will be the city library representative, and hoping to include Commissioner or City Councilor Todd Rocha as representing the City Council. He's for that.
Terrific.
And then representing the Urban Renewal Agency, Tim Dale. This team will be responsible for reviewing RFPs, interview and selection of a project manager, architect, and general contractor. After that, we'll develop the RFP the request for proposal for project management firm and publish it. So there'll be a review of the request for proposals for the project management services, select the firms and interview and conduct the interviews, select finalists for the project management part of it, and then develop and enter into an agreement with the project manager. Step 4, we're looking at project manager will develop the schedule and the budget. So once that piece gets settled, they'll figure out what the schedule is going to look like, what we've got in budget, and where we need to go with that. This group will also work with the project manager to develop the request for qualifications for the architect and engineering firm and get that published. So there'll be a review of the qualifications of the architect's services, select the firm and interview them, and then from there select which firms we want to use for those services, and then enter into that agreement. Next step will be the architect will develop the schedule and initial design concept with public input. So from there, the architect and firm will start meeting with council and then holding the public meetings for input on the civic building, and then move into the design of the civic building. Step 7, work with the project manager and architect to develop the request for proposal to move into the general contractor construction services and get that published. So again, that group will do the RFPs for those services, conduct and interview this, and help select the firms that will represent and do the project, and then we'll enter into agreement with that contract. The project team, consisting of staff, the project manager, architects, general contractors, will work together to finalize the design process within budget. Again, that's a rough outline. There may be a few steps added and taken out. So we're starting that timeline right now and getting that going. We have an exec session after this to discuss hopefully finalizing the purchase piece, because that'll be the first thing that we need to get locked down and taken care of. Then after that, we're going to get into it. Based on my conversation with the mayor today, we're looking at probably a spring groundbreaking is what we're shooting for, so that we can get that going and then steamroll right along. And I think, based on our conversations, Commissioner Rocha probably looking at maybe an opening December of 16.
Probably about 11 months.
11 months.
12 months. If you're talking spring, it'd be spring.
Spring.
16.
Even better. So that's kind of, any questions on that right now?
Just one comment. I'm glad to see that we've got a public participation
Absolutely.
element in this. And I also would like to use the information that we gained last time we went through this, because I think we had some pretty good turnout, came to some consensus on this. So I'd like us to try and reuse as much of that as we can, while still respecting new input as well. But I think we had a community discussion, and I think even consensus on the look and feel. So I think I'm hoping we can save a few hours at least by being able to revisit some of those discussions and save some time.
No, I think that's a great point. I think that's kind of been our vibe, that we want to make sure that, yes, we use what we can, so we're not reinventing the wheel, and that we have still be open to a lot of ideas and whatnot from the community in terms of what this building will be for our community. So I agree with that and appreciate that. I think that'll be a big piece. I don't know, I'm sure as we get into it, we'll figure out how many community meetings we need or whatnot, and where all those details will get worked out by the architect and the project management team. I think that's still kind of the way we wanted to kind of look at this in terms of the project management piece, and then the CMGC as we get rolling here in terms of control and watching that bottom line piece. So, okay, great. We'll consider that the rough draft of the plan, and if there's any questions, please feel free to talk to Amanda about this, or Todd. Put that on you. If there's construction questions. All right. Next on the agenda is the Historic Review Board presentation, but that has been pulled this evening, so we'll do that another night. And we will move into the Main Street Annual Report. That's Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jamie Stickle, Main Street Manager. It's very fitting that today is my annual report, because today is my 2-year anniversary working for the city. So,
anniversary.
very happy to be here for 2 years. You guys haven't gotten sick of me yet, which is a really good sign.
Yeah.
The Canby Main Street mission is to carry out the urban renewal plan to ensure economic vitality of the downtown commercial district, revitalize buildings and street environments, and enhance Canby's identity through the promotion of downtown. And I just threw a picture in there of one of our newest businesses, the Big White Goose, because she's already done a lot to kind of spruce up that little area of First Avenue. The Main Street program is based off of the National Main Street 4-point approach that includes promotion, economic restructuring, organization, and design. So first, starting with promotion. Promotion is just that. Promotions, events, marketing, finding ways to bring people into the downtown district. Over the course of the year, we did a couple different promotions. We had the Valentine's Day promotion, which is the heart and flowers and the love, Mother's Day promotion, and then a Facebook happens on Tuesdays, shop local or small business promotional piece. That is just, in my opinion, to help the businesses know that we're here to support them, to remind people to shop local. It's very easy to say, well, I'm just going to run to Fred Meyer because I can buy my paint and I can get my pharmacy. But if you come downtown, you'd get to see Cheryl at the Big White Goose and buy paint from her. You can go to Parsons and see Jeff and get all of your pharmacy needs there, and so on and so on. So it's just a little reminder to keep people shopping local. In August, we changed the way that the Canby First Friday worked. We started to promote it through Facebook. And so this just takes a look at the likes, campaign reach, and clicks of each of the promotional campaigns. We're doing paid advertising that is targeted to people in Canby and typically about 10 miles out. Usually, so you can do more than one advertisement that looks fairly similar, and usually I'll do also one at 25 miles out because you never know who's going to look for something to do on First Friday. And I would like to remind everybody that First Friday is this coming Friday, June 6th. We have 10 businesses participating, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's great.
We had several downtown events throughout the year, like the night, the Halloween event, which takes a kiddie parade through the downtown and into the businesses, and then our first annual Kiss Summer Goodbye Party, which featured 14 vendors. It was in Waite Park. We had live music, beer and wine. We had kids dancing. It was just a fun family event. We had a gorgeous day, and we kissed summer goodbye. I pretend that summer never happened after that. I've started to do a downtown draw, which is a monthly article that features a downtown business and features, sometimes it's service oriented and sometimes it's what I would call entertainment oriented, so that it's not just, oh, you can eat at these places, but if you need to get your teeth cleaned, do you need to rent out some equipment to put on a show? Financial services was a good one. And then also places that you can get your hair done, that you could go shopping at, have dinner at. And so that will continue. The businesses have been really open to it, and it's a really nice way to learn a little bit more about their story, find out what makes them so unique, and be able to really promote that to Canby. Throughout the year, marketing materials are updated or created. So we have the entertainment brochure, which, because we have had a great influx of retail businesses, needs to be updated. We did event center signage at the fairgrounds. It was updated this year, so it was very specific about entertainment businesses on one side and then hotspots in Canby on the other side, and it happened during the fair. Website updates, social media updates, and then a weekly newsletter. And the weekly newsletter focuses on downtown businesses and events that are happening in the downtown. And so, you know, sometimes I hear from people, well, I don't have a business in the downtown. How can I participate? So try and bring them in for First Friday or for one of the events, partner them with another downtown business. And it's been really encouraging, I would say, to see these businesses participate together and really lift each other up, whether they're next door neighbors or, you know, one's down Highway 99. Economic restructuring, it focuses on retaining and recruiting businesses. So for business outreach, this year did some targeted outreach, always face-to-face business contacts, getting in the store and having people, sometimes it's as simple as dropping off a flyer and then learning that they have a parking issue, for example. It's really been a great way for me to be able to really make those relationships within the community. Sometimes, again, they're topic related. So if we're doing a big push for Mother's Day, I'll take a flyer to all the businesses. Or when we did parking outreach, I took a flyer around. And that way you can hear the positive and negative thoughts on the things that we're working on. New business outreach, which has been really fun in the last couple of months. We've gotten, I think, 4 different retail businesses downtown. And over the course of the last year, we've partnered with the Small Business Center and the Chamber in order to make sure that our targeted visits are bringing information that's really helpful to the businesses if they need that to be. So financial, marketing, etc. In September 2013, we had our parking task force that met, The focus that came from the businesses that showed up was really about being customer-friendly and creating more space for the customers. But also identifying spaces that the business owners can park at, so that we're not just saying, don't come to work. We need you to come to work and we want you to come to work, but we also want to make our best spots for our customers. And then a good neighbor flyer was passed around to the downtown businesses to encourage them to utilize parking spaces that were identified through that task force and make it as friendly as possible downtown. Marketing available space. So at this time, Canby has very few openings, which is really good news. We update available space inventory. I do the downtown, Renata does the industrial park. And then we've done some business recruitment to try and talk to businesses to fill niches that came from the 2012 market study, and work with property owners. We'll create broker sheets if they need to just make sure that they have all the tools at the tip of their fingers to market their properties, so that we can have a great business climate. In the last year, we have 8 new businesses that came downtown, especially for you: Crooked Cottage, Retro Revival, Big White Goose, La Belle Spa, Aura Salon, Spa and Laser, Elizabeth, Janine, and Colors and Cuts. And a lot of these filled spaces that basically had pretty quick turnover, which is just a nice thing for the Canby people, because we want people to get in the habit of coming downtown, and if then their favorite business goes out of business, where are they supposed to go? But in a stroke of luck and some good marketing, we have been able to fill those spaces and keep the people coming downtown. Organization establishes consensus and works with other stakeholders within the community. So our community partnerships, of course, the Downtown Merchants, Chamber of Commerce, Public Library, the Clackamas County Main Street Program, and then the subsequent city programs from that, our Flower Basket and our Banner Program, Historic Review Board, Arts and Culture Advisory Council, and more. The Oregon Main Street Network has quarterly meetings, and part of it is networking and idea sharing, and then the second part is typically a training. So over the course of the year, we've learned about things from marketing to better ways to reach out to volunteers. And then there's a listserv, so if there is a hot button issue that needs to be addressed now as opposed to in 3 months from now, we're able to send out an email and typically get a pretty good response from people that are dealing with the same things that we are. The National Main Street Conference this year was in Detroit, Michigan, and I went with Councilor Parker. And so these are just a couple pictures of things that we got to see while we were there. The thing that I was the most taken with is that this is a community that, when you think about Detroit, most people think about blight, but I didn't find much blight while I was there. People were very proud. They were out walking, shopping, and the people that worked and lived in Detroit were thrilled that the Main Street program was there. They knew about it before we told them about it sometimes, and that they were just happy to have us. They were happy to tell their story. And there's such a sense of pride in the city that people don't want to leave. They want you to come in and show you why they're great. On our first day, one of the business owners said, "Is a renaissance too great of a word?" And we kind of laughed, but it's not too great of a word. They're working very hard to change the way that community is, and it shows in big ways and small ways. And I was really taken with these flowers one day, because we think, in small downtowns, you put Flower Basket down and, then people will come. And then people say, well, does that really work? But then here's a huge community that is bankrupt, and they've taken the time to put some flowers to encourage that walkability and really show off the beautiful things that the city has to show. Design is getting Main Street into top physical shape, so landscaping, just giving the visual elements and a positive message. Our Flower Basket program in 2013 won the Oregon Main Street Outstanding Partnership Award, and that is a partnership between the Canby Livability Coalition, Swan Island Dahlias donates all the dahlias, Canby Main Street, the city, Eccles Elementary Lunch Bunch, and then the high school. And it's a program that has been going on for a couple of years now, and I think it's just one that it works really well. We just planted dahlias a couple weeks ago, and everybody that participates gets a really great feeling from it. This year, we have added a downtown maintenance person in lieu of
Which one is it then?
of having a contractor, and so we're able to really do some targeted work throughout the downtown. She'll be able to help with events, and that is her with our lovely mayor, Brian Hodson. Façade Improvements. So we have had just a few façade improvements over the course of the year, but it has made great impacts for the downtown. I added the picture of Parsons Pharmacy that was hit really bad with a windstorm, and they were able to be approved so that they could have the facade improvement that will help them to fix their awning and really just upgrade that side of their building. The Davies Clinic plans to do a big improvement on the front of their building, and then Canby Clinic did as well, and Mike's Place, once he got going, he really got excited. So his last thing that he put in were huge windows, and he's very proud of those windows, so stop by and check them out. We have a blade sign program that offers grants up to $200 to purchase hardware and mounting materials. And then also we provide assistance in choosing the blade sign hardware that complements the building, and the business type. You know, some people think that you just put a rod out and then you hang your business sign, but you could be really creative. If you made chocolate, for instance, you could have a tool, I'm not exactly sure what makes chocolate, but a tool that would be able to make the chocolate, or you know, a wine bar could put wine stuff. Good. That was a really good explanation. Sorry. So we have some new additions to the Main Street program this year. We have the Historic Review Board. One of our members is here tonight. We're working on the Certified Local Government Grant, which is bringing design assistance, plaques, some surveys to our downtown so that we can really uncover the history that we have here. It's been really fun and interesting, and I think I speak for everybody that is actually on the board to say that we've been surprised at how much history we've been able to find in just the short amount of time that we've been working. One of the things that the group is really interested in is historic trees. And so, for instance, that picture is the Philander Lee tree, and Philander Lee sold the property that made what is Canby now, and it's still up if you drive down Highway 99 near package containers. And we're starting to work with community groups and really forge some relationships in the community. One of our other members, Carol Palmer, sits, I think, on the Historical Society. And so we're able to really leverage the assets and get people involved that might not think to be involved in historic preservation. And then there's the Arts and Culture Advisory Council. Its mission is to promote arts and culture in Canby by encouraging artistic and cultural awareness, developing new projects, preserving the past, which was a huge one for them, and how nice, because it ties right into the Historic Review Board. I did not force that on them. And then emphasizing our creative diversity. One of the first things that we're working on is sculptures on First Avenue, but then also communicating with other organizations that have been in Canby for a long time. One of the ideas that has come out, which I think would be really good citywide, is to get arts and culture based organizations together for a sit-down meeting so everybody can talk about what they're working on and what are some frustrations so that we can be better involved in each other's groups and then move forward in a group capacity. Key initiatives for next year: expanding our public art program, working on a wayfinding system. The Historic Review Board will probably apply again for another certified local government grant, and they're very excited about what we're doing now, and I think that they'll be very excited to expand projects and programs and the ideas that they've come up with in the future. And then increased events and promotions, and so a more impactful Light Up the Night is just one example, but there's talk about a ladies' night out, and I'm sure the promotions committee never ceases to surprise me with their great ideas, so I'm sure we'll have a lot more than that. And if anybody wants more information, they can contact me.
Jamie, good job.
Questions? Thank you.
To start with, will you send that out to us?
Yes.
Thank you. I think the key initiative piece would be a great slide for us just to have. A couple of questions. First off, thank you. Great report. A ton of detail. You've definitely been busy over the year, and I think you're kind of, like you said, you're celebrating your second anniversary, and I think the first year was figuring it out. Second year is starting to get some traction, and so I'm anxious to see what this year starts to produce in those regards. You talked about the Facebook promotion piece. Can you talk a little bit more about those ads? Like, I mean, you talked about range in terms of how far out you're going with them, but in terms of, I know you can set certain demographic pieces. Can you expand a little bit more on that and how that's been working?
Yeah, so I do targeted, so I try and think about things that would attract my attention, attract my youngest brother who's 12, attract my father who's 55, and then possibly my grandfather, although not much attracts his attention anymore. But, just kidding. But trying to find something that really grabs people's attention. So for instance, the poster, it used to just say Canby First Friday, and now I make sure that the poster says, what are your plans? Because I know if somebody asked me what my plans were for Friday and I didn't have an answer, I'd probably want to find out a little bit more about what they were leading to. So sometimes it's as simple as having a headline that says that and then the information about First Friday. Sometimes it's very targeted to the business. Do you want the best fondue in town? Come to First Friday. And then that links to our Facebook page and links to the poster, which will have all of the information on it. And then the nice thing about that is that, let's say we get 40 people that like the Main Street page and don't necessarily, only 39 of them come to First Friday. So at least we've captured 40 people that are then linked to our Facebook page that then learn about new businesses opening, learn about events that are going on. We're really able to involve them in more by having them like through the Facebook page, and then we're also able to see how many likes they have. So does that answer your question?
Oh, it does. No, I know that, just trying to,
Oh, yeah.
it is a bigger piece. It is, growing more and more, and I know that it's been a tool that you've been using, and I can't say that I've seen them on my Facebook, but I've not been on there as much, and
You were very
recent
busy.
times. There's a lot going on.
Photos with our new maintenance person.
Which, thank you for putting that in there.
You're welcome.
Are we paying like a per click? Like we hit a limit, then we fall off? Is that
I use $100 per advertisement.
okay?
And I do it per click because I think that you get more for your money. Somebody might argue with me, but impressions, if you pay for impressions, then let's say you pay a certain amount for this many 1,000 impressions, we could run out of money pretty quickly because we're seeing 25, 40,000 people. So if we're paying for click, sometimes we'll get 100 clicks, sometimes we'll get 300 clicks, and they set it up so it does the bartering for you, basically. So sometimes a click might only be worth 20 cents, and sometimes it might be worth 50 cents. I assure you, you all would be worth like 55 cents or more.
Are we helping the businesses, I guess, piggyback on that promotion?
How do you mean?
Well, just in terms of checking in, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of, might be getting into waters that it's just more of a curiosity that, I just want to make sure that the investment that we're making, even though it's maybe $100, but as we saw in some of those, the exposure we're getting is tens of thousands in terms of those impression pieces that we're looking at. Just how are the businesses utilizing our support, I guess?
I think especially with the First Friday, our businesses are becoming more creative. Cuts Force is a great example. They started doing music in their wine and beer section, and they've had 50 people, more than that. So, you talk often to me about we do this much and then the businesses need to meet us in the middle, and I think that that's a really good example of he's not just opening his doors and saying, come shop for me. He's saying, come here, I'm going to give you some entertainment while you're here, buy wine and beer and drink it and enjoy the time. And when you're headed out, take some wine to go, buy some flowers for your wife because she's mad because you're not home. Not you. That was just a blanket.
Yeah, I've had to institute a flower budget, so yeah, thank you for that.
So I think that by taking that part on as the city, that we've allowed them to have a little extra money to be creative on the other side. And maybe that's, I always say, if you know somebody that plays the guitar and sings pretty well, put them in the corner of your shop. Even if it's, not a direct fit, people love music. They love to have something to listen to. When the New History Minstrels, I know we were both in Red Door Antiques, when the New History Minstrels came, and they were just singing and telling history about Canby, people were, I don't want to say dumbfounded, but my sister is 20 years old. She doesn't think that anything that I do is cool. And she was like, they're going to sing in here? They just walk to businesses? And that was really what I saw happen time and time again. And so it's been kind of fun. Now, that is a different example. They're not business related, but having something that takes it a little bit one step further really is paying off. So I think that us taking on the advertising piece allows them to do that.
Have you seen it? Great to hear, or I'm elated to hear that we've got 10 businesses involved with this First Friday.
Yeah.
Now that I think we're moving into nicer weather, is that trend going to continue? I know that we've made the decision to lift the First Friday fee.
Right.
And
I
didn't
think
really
so.
see a lot of traction with that. I think and it could have been, again, weather not being cooperative this winter.
Right.
And
I
hopefully we'll see
think that
more
we
of that.
will. We have, a lot of our downtown businesses are very engaged in different ways. But for instance, like Pappy's Greasy Spoon, I don't think he's ever participated in First Friday, and he's participating this week. And he's closing down the street so that he can put a cruise in there. And I think it helps also that he's met Cheryl from the Big White Goose, who is just, now a couple businesses over, who's excited and engaged. And she knows Susan from Retro Revival, who works with the Red Door. It's not just, I'd like to pretend that it's all me, but it's not just that I've been here for 2 years, it's that our businesses have now started to become friends and really work together and really play off of each other. So I do think that this is not just a fluke that we're having 10 businesses. I do hope that it continues to grow, and I feel like with the excitement that the businesses are bringing that it will.
The entertainment brochure, how often are you updating that?
Well, I was thinking about it today. I was updating it as needed before, but it might just be good to just update it quarterly so that we have it available and then just put it, on a rotating or a recurring reminder to just update it and print some off and have them where we need to be.
I would think that, every time we gain a business, we won't discuss the latter part, but every time we add one, would almost require a change in that brochure to make sure, at least
Right.
looking at it quarterly. Okay. You talked about recruitment for downtown and businesses. What are your goals in terms of recruitment? Like, what sector specifically are you looking at to try to recruit and bring into downtown?
Well, if you would have asked me 6 months ago, I would have said we needed a lot more retail. But in the last 6 months or so, we've gotten a lot more retail in the downtown. That's a very good question. We don't have very many spaces, and so it depends a lot, I think, on the space. We do have some, and I'm not pretending that we don't, but, for instance, the space by Cuts Force, would I want to put, a small startup retail shop there? Probably not. But maybe that we want to reach out to, people always say Italian restaurants. And so maybe there's an Italian restaurant that we could reach out to wants to open a second location or something like that. I think it's time to revisit the market study and see where we're missing. I know that Italian is one of the top ones, so that's what always pops into my mind. But like women's clothing was one of the main things, and now we have that. I think we'll have to revisit, or I'll have to revisit rather.
8 new businesses downtown this year so far is, I think, definitely a big win. for our downtown. I think that's great. Are there any changes to Main Street that you're looking at in terms of what are you vetting to bigger, better, different,
Those
smaller,
task
larger?
forces. One of the things that I heard at the county level, and then at the state level, and then now at the national level, is that people don't want to just sign up to be on, for instance, the promotions committee. Some of them do. They're great, and I really appreciate that. But some people say, oh, you're going to do a beer night in the street, and I think that I could get at least a couple more people from that little group to sign up and maybe volunteer. So targeting people specifically for especially events is one of the biggest things that I see changing in the future. Our promotions committee has talked about doing a ladies' night out, and we had a date that we had to change because of some issues. But there's a couple volunteers who are part of a mom's group, and at a picnic they told one of their friends, who then decided that she would be part of it. And then we had some other business owners say that they wanted to be part of it. And so it was really great to see that task force idea, while we weren't implementing them today, that we'll be able to utilize those people and that concept in the future, because I think that that's the golden ticket for getting people involved.
Okay. And my last question, and I swear I'll stop. Well, it was a good report, and I appreciate it. There's been a lot going on, and I don't think that those that are viewing at home or watch later online maybe know all the work that's been going on. And there's a lot. So my final question, you talked about the initiatives that you're working on, and I know pieces that we've talked about over the last year, and I know that this is a piece for some of the members up here as well, as we look to when there isn't an urban renewal agency anymore. What are we looking, or how far down the road are we looking in terms of being able to sustain a Main Street program and manager position? As we just come off a tough budget, whatnot. I know that we've got growth, and I know that we've talked about, is it a 501(c)(3)? I guess it's not a question, more as a piece to maybe add that in terms of future initiatives.
Right, and
we're working towards that.
That's a really good point. We've started, Renata, my boss, the economic development director, and I have started talking about what is working in other cities. It's very easy to say we should do an economic improvement district, but then you look around at some of these small cities that are comparative in size to Canby, and it's not passing. And so finding what's working is one of the things that we're working on. We've also applied for a rare student that we hoped to have some potential surveying, so that we can really start that conversation now, even though we might not be 3 to 5 years out, that we're starting talking to the property owners and the business owners what they want. If they're not getting something that they want to see, then how do we make that happen, so that we're just building the case of Main Street in the future.
Great. So I'll stop. Any questions to the right?
I actually have, related to
Okay.
something that you brought up, in business recruitment. It said business recruitment to fill niches from the market survey, and I'm wondering what activities are taking place? What does that look like as far as, what are you doing to recruit the businesses
Well, so
that are needed
again,
in the survey?
it's targeted to spaces. So, typically when a business goes out in the downtown, Renata and I will talk about what we think is good there. For instance, the quilt shop space, when the quilt shop left, somebody said, wouldn't that be great for a little restaurant or a bakery? And then after talking to the owner, she told me she doesn't want a restaurant in that space, which is absolutely fine. And so working with the property owners, we built a blanket broker sheet, so that if they need it, we can help to create it, put some pictures in it. Not everybody works with brokers. Some people just, you call them at home. And so working with those kinds of things, we haven't had to do like blanket letters to 10, retail shops yet, but we've got 2 big properties downtown, one being over at Cuts Force, and then the other one being the Grand Central Station. And that will probably be very targeted of an introductory letter, then meetings with the people that say that they want to participate or want to at least brainstorm on if that could be even a possibility. And so I see that letter, the letter part, the more structured part moving forward. And then really just meeting with people when they come to town. When the Retro Revival came to town, she came in to ask questions about a business license, and then got pulled into a meeting with Renata and I, and we were able to also talk to her about the Red Door Antiques and really help to finesse that conversation. So,
Thank you.
I was just going to say too, I was actually going to ask you a question. I know one of the facade improvements that kind of came across our desk was for the Anderson Fair Place and their signboard. And that really looked sharp. And then I noticed that they've put all new siding and new roofing on that building and really improved the look a great deal. And then on First Avenue, so I think as we get some of these projects completed, they just create more momentum. And Country Insurance and Europa, I think they just did an exterior paint job. And I see the Canby rental set up out there with their tents and a lawnmower sale, and you just really get the feel that things are moving in a really good direction.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I had a friend of mine from Yakima who was in town this weekend, and he was very involved with the downtown committee for downtown Yakima and the downtown association and lots of other things, and we just walked the downtown and then had a cup of coffee, and he was so taken with the fact that we didn't have very many vacancies, which is great, and that how much action was going on downtown. And you're right, there were actually events happening downtown at the time, but I think sometimes it's easy when you're in it to say, I wish we had more people, but then to bring an outsider from a bigger city, it was really neat to see him really take a look and be proud of a community that has really nothing to do with other than he supports me and I support it, so.
If I could just add one last thing, and that is, when we have a fun event, whether it's a car show in the park or something, and bringing in a lot of people from the outside and they see what a great community this is, sometimes that's your best commercial you can have.
Great point.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was wondering, is there any means by which we can utilize the city website that has Main Street information for a survey of the community to find out what the people would like to see in Canby? We have people, I know myself, that travel outside of Canby at times to find certain things that we can't find here. And I was just wondering if that's a possibility. We could do a real good survey and see what the citizens really would like to see move into Canby, and then try to fill that niche based on the amount of square footage we have available. Maybe, I remember, what was it, last year we had a representative from Main Street in McMinnville.
Right.
And then I noticed when she was here and talked about that she traveled to Eugene or Corvallis, different places which are kind of similar in size, to find out if there were businesses that would be willing to start another business
Right.
In the community. And I know we talked about that, but maybe we could look at something like that.
I think that's a really good idea. We have the capacity to be able to do a survey, and one of the things that we do utilize often to move forward with projects is the visioning, because we did a lot of work on that, but it doesn't hurt to put another survey out there, and even if you get just a small representation, at least you're getting a representation of what people are interested in seeing more of, so.
Yeah, if we could, maybe put an advertisement in the newspaper to advertise the website
Right.
and the survey, so, people can go online and
Right.
do that.
I like that idea.
Thanks, Ken. Yes, sir.
Well, actually, I was going to be the one to bring up the fact that it is your anniversary, and it's been a good 2 years, and I think as the mayor points out from his experiences being a retail manager, the amount of productivity with an employee just goes up after the second year, that you learn your job, people learn who you are, and so it's been a good 2 years. It's going to be a better third year, I think. At the Main Street Conference in Detroit, we talked to a number of cities that were our size. And one of the things that they used as a yardstick was the occupancy downtown. How much vacant space, how much occupancy. And for most of the cities, a good vacancy rate was 60%, and a great vacancy rate was 80%. And we're nearly close to 100% here. So one of the things that I think that it just becomes human nature is that some people, we sometimes don't appreciate what we have and how much we have going for us, and having especially gone through a recession, that it's easy to say, things aren't great, but things really are. Things are really doing well. Today I took a walk downtown and met with the owners of the Red Door. They're actually expanding now to yet another business on the side street, a different type of business. So they are just thrilled to be here. They love the First Avenue improvements and are very, very bullish on this city. On the facade program, it's been a huge success. Where I get frustrated are absentee landlords who don't participate, some we can't even get a hold of. And that's really frustrating for me, that one or two of the ugliest buildings downtown are in the ownership of either a company or something. And I'm going to have some discussions with policy discussions with the council on ways that we might be able to approach that. But you can't have leadership without followership, and when you've got landlords that don't play and won't participate, that slows our ability to grow as a city. Also, if the city got off its dime and figured out what it was going to do with its properties, Jamie would have some additional property to peddle. We've got one of the few vacant buildings on First Avenue is one we own. So I'd like to see us figure out what we're going to do with that. I think that would be a tremendous place. One of the things that Jamie and I heard about at National Main Street Conference is the new trend of nano breweries that can open up in spaces as small as 2,000 square feet and do not need the 19-foot clearance that a traditional brewery has. And one of them in Delaware opened up. Was able to put in a brewery, a nano brewery, in 2,000 square feet, and 3 years later, they now have to give tickets away to take tours, and there are 3,000 tours a week at this brewery, and they are expanding in this town of 5,000 people, a $50 million brewery that started with a nano brewery. It is also a tremendous tourist destination. The people go to places in order to try a brewery. So I'm downshifting on my brewery passions to start with a nano brewery in 2,000 square feet. Maybe a brewery in the old police station would have some traction. And finally, I'd like to thank my colleagues on the Urban Renewal Agency for their support. That at times it's a leap of faith, that the metrics on how something pays off, sometimes you don't know, maybe for 20 years, that we have supported this program. And the question that you asked, Brian, about sustaining this, this is one of the things that I'm committed to, is looking at a 501c3 where we get some promotions. And again, some of the examples we've seen at National Main Street. Cities smaller than us have held 2 events a year, 2 successful events a year, and been able to raise $150,000 from those events. So if we find the right magic here, using the resources we have, maybe a train station that would be moved downtown and be part of a train museum, but monetizing what we have here, that we would lift this program up and off of city finances and have it self-sustaining. So thank you for your support to this program, and let's get to work on the 3rd year, Jamie.
Thank you.
Any other comments or anything for Jamie? Great. Thanks, Jamie. Good job.
Thanks, Jamie.
All right. Before we move into an exec session this evening, any other, I'll open it up, though it's not on the agenda, any other community announcements or thoughts? Okay. I will take a motion to move into executive session.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move we go into executive session per ORS 192.660, parent 2, parent E, real property.
Second.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So the motion's been made by Commissioner Hensley, seconded by Commissioner Rocha to move into executive session under ORS 192.660, parent 2, parent E, real property. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, seeing none, I will read this real quickly. The Urban Renewal Agency will now recess this meeting to meet in executive session for the purpose of discussing real property. The executive session is held pursuant to ORS 192.660, parent 2, parent E, which allows the agency to meet in executive session to discuss those topics. Only representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. The agency will adjourn to the City Hall conference room to hold its executive session. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision may be made in executive session. At the end of the session, we may reconvene the meeting in City Hall conference room and conduct any further business needs that need to be taken care of. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. And a motion's been made by Commissioner Roach, seconded by Commissioner Ryder. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. Good night, Canby. Thank you very much.
See you in 35.